Okay, I actually have a sound issue. Well, that's
Where?
not a great way to start the stream, but I will say hello and welcome to IRL F2 here for round one at Australia. But I don't actually have sound, so I'm gonna have to leave and rejoin,
Pause and
unfortunately.
unpause. Does that not
Unless,
work?
never mind.
Well
Okay,
done, Kevin.
yeah, no, it
Brilliant
happened to
stuff.
me before, and I had to leave and rejoin, but never mind. So yeah, of course, this is IRL F2. I'm joined by Jack today. He's going to be the co-com. We're going to be switching sometimes, I think, as well. So you'll see a bit of both of us on main.
I hope so. I mean, hopefully it's going to be a fun season though. I've seen some of the drivers on this F2 grid and some of them can race, and it's definitely going to be a championship fight. I have full confidence, so I'm very excited for this season anyway. I hope you are too.
Yeah, and of course it seems like quite a close season. A lot of people will be certainly up there. Well, I, of course, early on kind of start seeing the standouts. Some people are better at other tracks as well. Like, it is that close, it'll almost come down to who's better at what track. But they are coming around more or less the final corner now. I think I am on board as one of the ones. It's an AlphaTauri, I think it is, who is leading right now to start. It's Tim, who's going through turn 3 and then entering turn 4. So he's going to be the very first one to be setting a lap this season. So we'll see how well he can do. He's going to be the one who's going to be setting the benchmark at 26.7. I'm not completely sure how good that is, and well, it's actually invalid, so it's not going to be anything. There's a Williams of Shawnee boys. That's Sean. I'm not completely sure of his second name. I'm going to find it in a second. But Sean is on his lap. Of course, he hasn't invalidated. Tim will most likely be coming in to the pits on this lap. Will be interesting to see if Sean is going to spin it at this turn 11. Of course, he doesn't. I'm sure we're going to see quite a few spins as in F1 and FP. We saw, especially in FP, we saw plenty of spins in turn 11, and also the final corner as well. We saw a few people go spinning around. So people will be hoping that they don't make the same mistakes today. Some people were in that FP race as well, will be looking to not be doing quite as many spins, but he's going to come across the line for a 20.8. Not a great lap. It's most likely not going to be anywhere really near to pole. It's 22.7 from Roddy Boy again. I'll get these names by the end of quali anyway. Shane was 21.1, so really no one actually in the 19s, and I say that, there you go, Adrian goes straight into the 19s with a 19.9. Tom was a 20.2, so it seems it's kind of high 19s, at least early on, that people are going to be setting. Adam Cargan goes in with a 20.1. We'll try and see someone else.
Paco's already spun in turn 12, which I was going to say is going to cause a crash. Somebody will crash in turns 11 and 12, and we will see a safety car or something. And I have full confidence in that, as we've already seen Paco Suarez, who's on the mediums right now, already go spinning around, lose some of his front wing on the wall, and causing himself an issue on his first run of quali. So I don't think he'll be using mediums in the race anyway. As far as I know, the strategy is a soft hard. So luckily Paco's kind of got away scot-free from that one, but if he keeps doing that in his later quali runs, then it could certainly end much worse for him.
Yeah, indeed. It's not the lap that he would have wanted. He would have wanted at least a banker on those mediums. He's only really going to be getting 2 more runs, and 3 is a stretch. Like, he'd probably have to be leaving the pits at this point, and he's obviously only getting brought in. So it's a long shot, really. He's most likely going to be getting only 2 runs, and it's obviously one of them is going to be his banker. So it's a lot less opportunity, really, to be focusing more on improving. His teammate has gone 7th on mediums. He's first out of the 2 people on mediums. Dominic Hurley, I should say, in 9th with a 22.8. Of course, you kind of expect it. The mediums aren't meant to be quicker than the softs, as that's Black Poema, I should say, going up to 4th out of 20.5. As most people in the pits, this is a window to try and get most of the names. I do know a good few of them. Of course, I've raced some of these guys in F2 before. So it is interesting to see who will be at the top now. A lot of the quick guys from last season have left, so it's really going to be bringing the grid closer together, and at the top it's going to be very, very close. Of course, the two Renaults haven't even set quick laps. Antonio Moretti, I think his name is the second name, but he had pole last week in the preseason with a 19.4, so he's certainly someone you'd be looking at for pole. He said he didn't know how he said it, but he did set it last week, so there is potential in there for certainly a low, or at least a mid-19, as we see Adrian Storm going 10th on mediums. He's just behind Jared. Well, I say just 22.1. He's a little bit off, but it is of course a banker. There's always time to find.
So Kevin, what time do you think the pole setter can set in F2?
Well, I mean, judging by last week, it should at least be a mid-19. I'm sure some people didn't get some of their laps in as well at the same time, so I'd say we'd be seeing a few 19s. Of course, people start practicing a bit more when it's a little more kind of the stakes are a little higher. Of course, round one, it's good to get a good start, get confidence in you, as well as Tim sets a 20.1 as well, just ahead of Adam Corrigan and indeed his teammate, who is not too far behind on pretty much a 0.2 flat. So the top four really look a little bit away from the grid, but of course 14th through 20th haven't set a time yet. As we see Adrian coming into the pits, we'll try and find someone. That's actually Eric, is someone who certainly is going to be on for something good. You would expect him to be, at least, as he's on his wheel today. He'll be on his wheel for the season, and he's invalidated. It's an easy mistake to do, going a little bit too wide at turn 11. Better than spinning anyway. So yeah, he's going to be able to at least go back to the pits and try again.
Yeah, Eric, I wasn't paying much attention, didn't even realise he was in the lobby until just now when I decided to spectate him. He got a purple sector 1, and then he got purple sector 2, and then he obviously invalidated in turn 12, which is going to cause issues. And you saw that where he almost spun, kind of coming into the corner when he hit the curb. That's why he went wide in the first place. But he's going again, as we see the Red Bull of CPI. I don't know his name, so I'm sorry for that. But he's already in the wall in turn 1, which is a place where you can crash, as I think we've seen Valtteri Bottas do that in real life, and I can't think of any racing examples in IRL, but there you go. We've had our first victim of Australia, and that's in turn 1, which wasn't where I was expecting.
Yeah, that's Antonio Moretti there, going out, unfortunately. Of course, he's the first retirement. Luckily for him, it's only quali, so he's going to be able to have another time, as Paco Suarez now at 20.0, another person in a very low 20, but not really anyone getting deep into the 19s. Adrian only just in the 19s, only person to set a lap there, so I'm sure people like Eric, Paco, Jared will be able to get into the 19s. There's also Tom, Jewel and Tim, who I'm sure are also capable of it, so there's kind of options for pole. It would be difficult. Even now, if you're predicting it, you could end up being very wrong, and I mean, we may as well kind of predict it as things maybe die down a little bit at least.
I reckon it's Eric. Sorry, I'm just going to put it out there.
Well, I mean, what would your top 3 be then? As Eric actually goes P2 as a 20.0, so
he's
just
on
ahead
old
of
tyres as
Paco
well.
there.
He's on old tyres, and Eric, even though he's on a wheel, we've seen him previous seasons before, he's been in F2 and he's just been the fastest. So my money's on Eric in general the whole season, or whatever, to be frank. But top 3, RJ going with a 19.8 though, which is solid lap, fair play, and also makes me reconsider whether I should really be in F1. But my top 3, Eric, Paco could be there, Adam, if he bothered to practice, would be there, but he doesn't, so no. I don't actually know. Eric, there you go. That's what you get from me.
Yeah, and I've got the names there. So I'll just send that on to you. We'll see. Eric is going to be on an in-lap now. Surely he's not going to be going for another lap. As Adrian... well, there's actually two Adrians on the track. A 19.4. There is a time that's a little bit more representative, I'm sure, of the F2 guys. As someone else improved there as well. That was Tom Jewell going to a 19.9. So people starting maybe to get a little more into the 19s. 3 people completing the feat, if you want to put it like that. Eric, of course, is certainly capable of it. Same with Paco Suarez as well. I'm sure Antonio would have been capable of it. He did it last week, but crashed out early on, and he's going to be starting last, whether he likes it or not. I'm sure he doesn't. So, especially knowing what he maybe could have done. So yeah, it's going to be a fight through the field, I think, for him.
Yeah, I think if Tom Jewell can stay consistent and just like we saw it in last season's F3, he didn't win the title, did he?
Who? Sorry?
Tom Jewell.
Tom, he did not. He came just short to Adrian Storm, who was also on the grid.
Yeah, well, Tom Jewell, I think if he puts in practice, which he always does as far as I know, and stays consistent during the race, he absolutely has a shot at this title. As I think a lot of drivers, as long as they practice enough and try hard enough, they can absolutely win the title. But I guess it's just a case of dedication, really, as we almost saw it last season in F2 with you and Lewis going head to head, both of you practicing as much as you could, and it was so close, but you were unfortunate not to win, and Lewis did a very good job. I think if the drivers do that consistently throughout this season, then we're going to see an amazing fight for the title.
Yeah, I have to agree fully there, as I think someone improved there. That must have been Alfie there, going 13th. So yeah, not an amazing lap, but you know, not everyone can be in 19s. You know, like it is F2 at the end of the day, but you know, like as you said, like if people practice enough, anything can really happen.
Yeah, I mean, F2 isn't even a slow division. I mean, to me, I think a few of these drivers could beat me on their day. I know that for a fact. Some of these drivers probably are going to go quicker than what I would have done yesterday if I had raced. But I think if people stay consistent, then that's what's going to decide the championship to me. What were you saying, sorry?
No, I just mentioned Alfie going invalid. I think he was on an in-lap anyway. We are going to go on board though with Louis Quinlan. It looks like he's going to be setting his final lap. He's on the 20.3, so a little bit of an improvement. Even like 2/10 could see him go 5th, 4th. If he gets a 0.0, you never really know where he could end up putting himself. But he is purple apparently in Sector 1, Sector 2 now. He's 3/10 up, which should put him at least on a high 19, which would put him 4th or maybe 3rd if he can sneak ahead of Tom Jewell. We'll see how good his final sector is going to be now as he comes through the final few corners, approaching the hairpin. The hairpin can be a very tricky corner, especially if you have ABS off, as it seems he does, unless those are Codemasters lockup. Never really know these days, but he is going to be approaching the line. It should be an improvement. He's not invalid, and it's going to be P2 with a 19.7. Not exactly close to Adrian in first. Adrian Villarreal, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not completely sure. As Paco said, it's a 19.6 as well, getting a little bit closer to Adrian. Points 4, 6, and 7. So yeah, it is very close. Like, you improve by 1/10, you can get catapulted up the grid, really.
I mean, any sort of improvement is always a good improvement, but looking at the people inside the top 10, or at least top 9, with Jared being 4/10 off the next person, improving by 2/10, if in Adam's case, improving by about 2.5
to 0.7.
There you go. Eric is just slowly becoming more and more like Eric, but still, whoever your man is in the lead, Sati
That's
Pickle.
Adrian.
Is it Adrian? I know it's Adrian. Didn't know which Adrian. What was that?
Adrian Villarreal. I'm not completely sure if that's how you pronounce it, but
I'm just going to call him Adrian. But Adrian with a 19.4 right now, though still 2 tenths ahead of everybody else, is clearly doing very well. Eric's packed in and he's had enough, it seems, unless he's crashed actually. He may well have crashed. But anyway, that's Eric's qualifying over still.
I think. I'm not sure.
That's unfortunate for Eric, but we've
seems
also
a bit
had
odd,
turn
but yeah.
12. Turn 12 is claimed his
actually
first
way
victim
down the
already.
lap. I was gonna circle on board of Sim. Go on.
Jesus. Turn 12 already claimed his first victim with Rutty Boy. Don't know his name either. Going off there, somehow crashing. And he's qualifying already where he's down and he only 2 people behind him is what's his name? Oh, whatever. The person in the last 2 crashed. The person in the last 2 crashed earlier on in the session, never got to set a lap, and then Dominic Hurley down in P19. The only people behind him right now, so unless Dom doesn't improve, or he's just got a little bit of a toe from his teammate, Adam Corrigan, who also needs to improve, is on his outlap now.
Yeah, I do have to cut in though. Adrian is on a lap. He's apparently 2 tenths up. Of course, he's already got provisional pole. It looks like he's again just slightly up. It looks like he maybe lost a little bit of time in sector 2, but he is going to be finishing out his lap. He didn't have to best exit out of turn 11 either, which isn't going to help him down towards turn 12. But we'll see now. Approaching the hairpin. The hairpin really is a kind of a crucial corner, I would say, as it kind of helps your exit through the final corner to go up to the line. So he's on a 19.4. I'm not sure if this is going to be an improvement. It's not. So he stays on 19.4. Provisional pole still though. Or Ross Williams, I should say, goes up to second with a 19.5, just off him. He wasn't able to put himself on pole. Tom Jewell, it looks like is finished now. He's on 19.9. Charlie Congdon on a 20.1. He's on a lap. It looks like Adam Corrigan is actually a little bit further up the grid. He is on track, and he's got a little bit of slipstream from his teammate, but that's not going to matter because he's now invalid. Charlie Congdon is on a lap, or he should be on a lap. We'll see. He is up actually by 10th. It's apparently a purple sector 2. So he might be able to get a little bit of slipstream from, I think it's a racing point just up ahead. It is a racing point of, I think maybe Adrian Storm. But he is going to be coming through now. The final few corners, really, it's up to Charlie to see who takes this pole position. Most people have finished now, or are in the pits. Adam Corrigan and Dominic Hurley both in the pits, 2 Alfa Romeos. Shane, I think, might be on a lap as well. Charlie Congdon is going to improve, but only a 19.8 for 6th, so he's not going to be able to go on pole position. And Shane is actually finished for the day. So that is the grid. Your pole sitter, Adrian Villarreal, Ross Williams just behind him, and Paco Suarez, of course, taking the 3rd spot. But it seems so close to the top, though.
Absolutely. I mean, even though Adrian qualified on pole by over a 10th and a half-ish, I think he's still definitely going to be challenged in the race. At least if somebody can stay with him in DRS, slipstream, whatever they can find, then I think all will be okay. But I've also just realised that Louis Quinlan was setting his final laps on 3-lap-old stuff, so I have no idea what his thought process was for that one, because that's never going to work. But yeah, I think as long as somebody stays with Adrian, then we can absolutely see a fight for this race. Maybe he doesn't have any race pace, maybe he only has quali paces. You just never really know after quali. You have to see what happens in the race. There could be a crash, could be a safety car, anything can still happen. But anyway, I'll let you run through the grid.
Yeah, of course. That is Adrian taking the first pole of season 10 for F2 ahead of Russell Williams, a 10th and a half pretty much separating them, but easily could have been a mistake from Ross or maybe just a really good lap from Adrian. You never know these things. I guess we'll see how the race pace pans out. Paco Suarez takes 3rd position, Eric in 4th, Louis 5th, Charlie in 6th. That is Martin, I'm going to go with, in 7th, Tom Jewell 8th, Jared Fosbury 9th, Tom in 10th, and then Adam in 11th, that's Adrian 12th, and hopefully you saw that. We'll go through and finish off the grid when we get in, of course.
Yeah, I think It's a close grid for sure. We can see there's already a close grid, and it just depends on what people can do in the race. Consistency is going to matter. That's all I know for this season. Consistency will matter, and that's what will win the championship. I know Adam Corrigan wants to go for the championship, but quite frankly hasn't put in enough practice for this race one bit. So I don't think this one's going to go the best for him, but he is luckily starting in the best position that you can start in when you're outside of the top 10. And I think personally it's a better position than starting P10 itself. So him starting P11 could help him with the alternate strategy if he plays it right. If he does things correctly, then he will be A-OK, I imagine, if he makes overtakes and doesn't bottle, which is Adam Corrigan, so he probably will. So we'll see. But Kevin, do you have any predictions or any idea who could win this race today?
So close, anything can happen. You can easily say like, oh, Adrian could convert the pole, but in a similar vein, like Ross Williams could have a good start and jump him off the start. Paco Suarez could have a good start. Maybe the top two have a bit worse of a start. He leads into turn one. Maybe there's a crash with the top two going to turn one. Of course, yesterday in F1 there was a 4 wide moment going into turn one. I don't think some of them even knew that it was 4 wide, but that caused quite the crash yesterday. So really, like, anything can happen. If I was looking at no incidents, I'm gonna go with Adrian. I think Adrian would be safe to convert his pole into the win. I would go with Eric in second, and then Ross in third, purely because I think Paco's gonna bottle. If he didn't bottle, then like maybe, but I just kind of feel like he would.
If Paco keeps on the track, he's definitely a quick driver. I think before he's had the curse of hitting the wall, losing a wheel or wing, or hitting another person, which doesn't always end well. Normally when you do that, things go badly. But as long as he keeps on the track, he can be a quick driver when he wants to be. So I think Paco suddenly has an opportunity, but looking at everyone's strategies, I'm a bit confused, if I'm honest, with only 3 people outside the top 10 out of a full grid, mind you. Half the grid can do the alternate strategy, and only 3 of them have. With that being...
Oh, yeah. That's very interesting to actually consider.
I'm trying to find the guy's name, but I don't even think it's on the list. Okay, never mind. Yeah, but then you got Ewan, Moshalot, he's also on the mediums, and then you got Alfie on the mediums too. So only 3 people, and they're all further back. They're in the last 5 drivers that you can see. So
sorry, who was that person you were looking for just there? Just before?
CPI Ablaze.
Okay, that was Antonio Moretti.
Okay, so Antonio being the last of those drivers starting on the mediums, and then you got Ewan, then you got Alfie. It's going to be an interesting race, especially with strategy, but anyway, it's all about to begin, and Kevin, I'll let you take over from that.
Yeah, of course we're waiting for the 5 red lights now, and a better camera angle. There we go. So 5 red lights for round 1 at Australia, and they go off very, very quickly actually. It looks like a pretty good start. It looks like the McLaren didn't actually have the best start. The Ferrari kind of got a jump on them, maybe going into turn 1. Of course, Adrian leads into turn 1. The Ferrari, there's a Haas round in the background. That's, I'm sorry, that's Poema, I'm going to say for now. I will kind of learn the names as I go. But on the inside, actually, Eric goes on... Jesus, the thing is completely messed up. But that's down the inside of Russell Williams for P2. So Eric making up places. Tom Jewell is in 4th or 5th. It looks like 5th behind his teammate Tim Bruce Dalens. So 2 AlphaTauris actually not looking too bad being on the same part of track. It can be quite a good position to be in when you and your teammate are committed to helping each other out. So maybe they can employ some sort of team strategy. 2 Renaults actually following like a 2x2 there, as Jared is a little bit under pressure from Adrian Storm in the racing point, as I think that's a Blaze in the background. That's Antonio maybe coming together with someone, I'm not sure. But he is out of this, well, not out of the race, but he's quite far down the grid, unfortunately, as we see the Mercedes there of Louis Quinlan having a little bit of damage. That's Poema going through pretty easily to take the P15 there. as he gets a little bit up on the gravel. But yeah, it seems a few people have actually crashed, or at least scraped the wall a little bit in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, Young, of course, going into the pits as he absolutely rams up the rear of Louis Quinlan coming into the pits after Louis locks up. But as it stands right now, Eric having a great start going from, I think it was P4 or 5, straight up to P2, 1.6 seconds behind Adrian in front now with RJ, forgotten his name, sorry, in third still. But Tim in fourth, doing quite well for himself with his teammate behind him, Tom Jewell. They will be communicating, they've been practicing earlier. So these two, as long as they communicate, stay together, then they can fight off the other two teammates behind them of Paco and Jared. So they can do working as a team. Will there be one dropping back to hold back? Will there be team orders? We'll only have to wait and see. As everyone's still close, there's a yellow flag to the back, which looks like it could be one of the Red Bulls. I don't think it was Charlie, I don't know, but something happened at the back, and there's been some damage, some incidents, but so far we're all A-okay. Nothing major's happened just yet.
Yeah, it looks like after those pit stops, Antonio didn't actually have damage himself, it seems, so he must have just spun, or maybe had an incident that spun him around, but no damage for him, so he's able to continue pretty easily. He's also on the mediums, so it's going to be helping him out a little bit in terms of strategy, still being quicker near the end, as of course Adrian sets the fastest lap of the race, of course it being the end of lap 2 there, so of course he's going to go a little bit quicker. It is going to be interesting as well, the fastest lap points. Like, given how close the grid is, if someone takes a fastest lap point off someone in one race, it could come back to bite them at the end of the championship, because it's like, if it's that close, every point matters.
That's for sure, and we've already seen Alfie. He's just spun in the final corner. He's gone into the pits now, it seems, as he must have had an issue as he was racing with Antonio, I believe it was, a little bit further back. But penalties are already coming into play. We're literally in the middle of lap 3. We already have 3 drivers who have a penalty so far. So this is what I'm saying about consistency. If you don't get penalties, stay consistent, then you'll just shoot up places quite easily, as long as you don't get a penalty. So I think that's the biggest thing, especially in kind of the middle tier. The drivers are quick, but they can be inconsistent and get penalties. So as long as you stay on the track, be normal, then you should be A-okay. So I think Tim having that penalty, him and Tom will probably end up switching positions or something to see what happens later on in the race, because Tom will beat him at this stage anyway, if the race ended right now. So yeah, and looking at the top 2, it looks like both of them have gaps to the grid, but Adrian of course gapped also Eric, 2.3 seconds the gap between them two. So it kind of seems like Eric is kind of settled into a P2. Adrian's having the time of his life, I'm sure, out in first, and especially with third being contested so much, it kind of seems like with no mistakes he should be able to pull away in the early stages. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Adrian, he's comfortable. You can just tell he's 2.4 seconds ahead after lap 4, as okay, Louis Quinlan's left the session. I'm guessing that's a like out, which is just unfortunate, or he's given up. One of the two, hopefully not the second, but it looks like Adrian's very comfortable, 2.5 seconds still gaining, where Eric is a little bit less confident on his wheel. I think right now things are all calm at the front. RJ, he's having an alright time with Tim just behind him, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in kind of the final podium position for sure, as Paco also picks up a teammate.
Oh,
so
that's safety car, full safety car with Alfie. Alfie's going out, I'm not sure where he crashed.
Turn 2, it seems. Turn 2,
it is turn
Alfie
2.
Must have dropped his rear on the exit, the corner on the curb, maybe trying to accelerate. I've done it before in career mode races. Whereas Mushala gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, didn't even hit anyone, wasn't near anyone, but Ewan just going too fast and making a silly mistake really. Despite being at the back of the grid, he can actually know this won't help him under the safety car at all. He had a chance to catch up, but now he's got himself a penalty and can't do anything. But all the drivers now going into the pit, so this safety car has come as a good time. And
interestingly though, Eric, Tom, Jared, Adam and Charlie all opting to not use the opportunity to pit. And they could have pit as well. It's maybe their teammates pitting as well, maybe they didn't want to lose time. But now they're going to have a grid full of people on hards who want to get by. and their
Yeah,
softs aren't going to be getting any healthier.
Eric, I don't have any idea why, considering it's his teammate that crashed out. I mean, Eric is the one for different strategies sometimes. We've seen it in the past. Maybe he can make it work. Maybe he's banking on another safety car soon. Tom, he had his teammate ahead of him, Tim. Brucean's just he pit, obviously, so he can do much. Same with Jared. Adam deciding not to pit, even though I think Dominic Hardy was behind him. But this is Adam. I don't think he knows what he's doing. And Charlie Congdon staying out for whatever reason. I couldn't tell you why. As his teammate also stayed out on his medium, so I guess Charlie Congdon's doing the same as Eric and just staying out for the sake of staying out, I guess.
Yeah, maybe they think the softs are going to be better early on, and they should be really, than the hards earlier on in the stint, but I don't think they're going to be good for much longer, and especially considering once they pit, they'll need to make up probably like a 15 to 20 second gap, if they do even start gapping at the start of the safety car, because they're going to be pitting very, very soon, so they have a lot of time to make up, and it's really a no-brainer to pit unless your teammate pit.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think a couple of them might pit now. You know, the teammate people, Jared, Tom, quite possibly could pit, which Jared does do. Tom does.
Jared.
Yeah, Jared, he's decided to pit, which I think personally is the better call. Tom decides not to, as I don't think he thinks it's worth being at the back of the grid now. So Jared's going to try and make a comeback from the back and just shoot up the grid, see what he can do with that. But I think the softs could be okay off the start, especially with these cold hards. There's only one word for them, and that is gopping. It's awful. It's horrible to drive. And somebody's probably going to spin off the start as people try and race each other against the mediums, against the softs. It won't be the best for the hard drivers, but later on in the race, in the long term, it's absolutely the best strategy. So I think the top four, they're going to have a really hard time coming back in this race without another safety car.
Yeah, and of course, I just wanted to bring up Antonio. Of course, he started down 19th. By staying out on his mediums, he does have to pit again. But those mediums are going to go a while, and they'll be better than the hards for quite a bit. So if he can just make a move on Adrian early on, he might be able to gap and obviously be much quicker than the softer guys, because there's a lot less of a gap in pace. So once those softs start going off a little bit, then the mediums will be miles better. So if he can make the moves early on, he could be certainly someone you consider for the win, because those hards at the end versus his fresh softs, there's going to be no question what's quicker there. As a safety car in this lap.
Safety cars in this lap, but at the back of the grid, we've been seeing some incidents with somebody getting a drive through, that being Ewan. And then Dominic Hardy going into the back of Shawnee Boy. Or Sean, sorry, should I say. At some point, getting himself for 5 seconds, so kind of the final half of the grid, a lot of them have penalties, with a couple of the people in the top 10 also having penalties. So penalties coming through very, very early on already. So for the rest of this race, it's going to be interesting to see what people do in trying to limit getting more time added on at the end of their race.
Yeah, now
there comes more.
Oh, well, yeah. Paco Suarez either getting hit or hitting the back of the person in front of him, I'm not sure, but it is going to be Eric now. It looks like he has bolted. It looks like actually a very good restart, as he's already gapped quite significantly. Tom Jewell just behind him. Adam Corrigan kind of falling back a little bit from the top two, so it's not been the best restart. Of course, he has Charlie Congdon just behind him, so equal between the two tyres, but maybe a little bit better of an exit. Actually, not quite, as yeah, everyone just kind of just gapping everyone, not really able to close up. No moves actually happening into turn 3, which is very odd. At
the back there is moves, so Kevin, if you look with I forgot his name, sorry, Martin DeYoung trying to fight Sean at the back, with Dominic Hardy holding up a few drivers behind. One of the Williams drivers, I think that might have been Sean himself, kind of almost getting turned in on by him, with fights going on the back for sure. The final people not even hitting the points, all trying to fight to get in front, and are actually losing time from that as well.
Sean has actually got a really good exit there. He's going to be alongside Shane going into turn 8, and he kind of just squeezes him off the track to complete that move, so he's going to be up into 12th place, Shane down to 13th.
But yeah, as you were commentating there, a lot of stuff was going on as Dominic Curley gets a really bad run on the exit corner, and he's just going to breeze past the Alfa Romeo. I don't think he could really do much. He tries to stick his nose in. I have no idea what his plan was for that. But Shane's going to get past him too with Dominic. He can't do much. He's just getting overtaken left, right and centre by every car that comes close to him. Martin also, he's going to be in this line of cars to try and get past. As Dominic, you can see those cold hards are not doing him any favours at all. And he's having a horrible time.
There's just things happening in my house, I'm sorry, but Dominic Hurley is getting overtaken again by the Haas there of, I forget, you said it 2 seconds ago as well, but the Haas is ahead of Dominic Hurley again, so he might be losing another position. Now Jared Fosbury is going to be looking to go around the outside as Dominic moves over, under braking very much so, there's no question about that. He keeps Jared Fosbury behind just about. And it looks like actually he has a little bit of damage there as well. I didn't actually notice that.
Yeah, gets overtaken by Louis Quinlan too, and I think Dominic Hurley is out fault there in his driving. Hasn't been good, I'll be honest. The things I saw, he just turned in on people, whatever. He hasn't been driving very well, and as you can see, it's now affected Jared himself, losing position to Louis Quinlan, getting himself a bit of damage. But now Louis Quinlan, he's on the back of Dom. Hopefully he doesn't move under braking on him, as on the exit of this corner is a perfect overtaking opportunity. Ewan gets another 3 second time penalty.
Especially with Dominic Hurley's wing.
Oh, Shawnee boy in the wall. Sean's in the wall. Turn 12. Crashes, luckily not to retire. That could be about safety car as he tries to turn himself back round.
Yeah, yellow flags in sector 3. Well, actually, not the entire sector, so overtaking is going to be still allowed. But it doesn't look like Louis Quinlan was able to make a good enough exit out of turn 11 to be making an overtake. As you can see, actually, the grip difference and just the downforce difference between Dominic and Louis. Louis is now going to be looking to go down the inside, both of them on the hard, so they equal in that front. But of course Dominic doesn't exactly have a full wing as he's getting kind of pushed off the track. It's very hard racing between these guys as Jared Fosbury now is going to be going through, and it doesn't look like Dominic's going to be able to do anything about it. He tries to look around the outside, but then yeah, he loses another 2 positions almost at the, well, what you would call the back anyways. A few people pitting behind there.
Yeah, Dominic, he's really had a bad restart. I think he's got wing damage somewhere along the way, or yeah, he has actually with his left end plate being gone, so some of these turns to the right hand corners, I believe that means are not going to be fun for him. As you can see, he's just
Charlie is actually going side by side with Storm there in turn 10. Is a very interesting corner to be going side by side, and I certainly wouldn't
with RJ behind him as well, overtaking him. Look at that.
Down the inside, it should be a simple move, and it is. Of course, the softs versus the fresh hards. Those softs have been taken from turn 1, so there's really not all much he could have done there. And the wear on his softs, he'll actually probably be, yeah, he is going to be pitting this lap now. So into the pits for him. Eric and Adam now actually leading the charge out in front. Actually, not too much between the two. So maybe a little bit of a fight for the lead. Of course, right behind them is Adrian Villarreal. He's going to the end of the race.
Oh, Charlie's retired in the pits.
Yeah.
What?
He recently made an overtake on... well, I forget who it was, but I swear he recently made an overtake and he was looking fine.
Yeah, but... Okay, that's an interesting call from Charlie. I mean, it's a different strategy from what I know. It's not one I would have chosen personally, but you know, whatever he thinks will help his championship, I suppose.
Yeah, you never know what could happen in the races as well. You could get a safety car, you could get a few people retiring, of course, especially on this track. Turn 11 can claim quite a few people, as actually Adam Corrigan seems to be closing in on Eric a little bit. There's 2 tenths almost between them going into turn 12. So, looks close between the two. Or actually, no, I've been saying turn 11 the entire time. That's, yeah, I think actually I heard you earlier saying the correct name, and I kept calling it wrong because I thought you were wrong, but I'm actually wrong. I'll take responsibility for that.
You're bad. I'm just going to roast you on Twitter now because it'd be funny. But yeah, Adam and Eric still staying out. Oh, Adam almost spinning in turn 2. That could have been something, and he's no stranger to spinning on walls. Adam, I'm confident, knows the walls around every single track on this game better than anyone, better than the people who coded them. because he spend more time in them than out of them. I love you, Adam, really. But I'm quite surprised that Adam and Eric are still staying out right now. As you can see, Adrian behind is starting to catch on his hards, and it's not a fun experience to drive anymore with Louis picking up another penalty. The penalties are high in this race already, with Adam, again, also having one. But this lap, surely they're going to pit.
Yeah,
I think
it doesn't look like those softs are actually holding up too well, as Adam almost loses the rear again, going out of, what is turn 8? I do actually have that corner name right, at least. So, yeah, he's certainly struggling. Eric doesn't seem to be doing much better, as he's not actually gapping him despite Adam making the small mistakes, so really not going well for either of them staying out in the softs. And actually then pitting, I will get up the gap to leader to see roughly where they should be coming out. They'll actually be coming out around P14, so yeah, it's not going to go well for them, as Adam is going to come into the pits. Eric's staying out another lap. This is really danger territory at this point, potentially looking at a puncture for Eric if he's not careful, so he should really come in on this lap to avoid one, because I can't imagine those tires being under 70% at this point.
Yep, I think Eric's trying to do a medium to be faster at the late stage in the race, so he's stretching his softs as far as he physically possibly can to be able to give him the best chance to make it to the end on the mediums. So Eric is trying a different strategy, I think, and it's going to be interesting as Louis gets past Jared behind, with Ross Williams also getting past TTG Storm. Sorry, whatever his name is. I'll learn names eventually. I apologize to
Storm,
everyone.
you can really almost say Storm, because it's Adrian Storm is his name, so.
Oh yeah, see, Storm, I was fine. I was right the whole time. But, yeah, Ross Williams got past Storm as he goes into P5 and starts pulling away. So right now the gap's starting to open up a little bit, but in sections of the track, people still...
Yeah, I'm just on board here with Adrian. It doesn't look like he'll be able to make a move. I would have expected him to be closing up enough, especially through like the very demanding corners of turn 11 and 12. I thought a move would have been possible, but I guess not. If Eric stays out another lap, there's no way he's holding this lead, so he should be pitting. Yeah, he is, as Adam Corrigan came out in 16th place. He's a fair bit behind Tom Jewell, so Eric probably isn't going to be too much better off, as now we've got a little bit of a fight for the lead. Antonio just behind Adrian on the mediums. His mediums should be still okay right now, but I'd say they'd be getting close to the point where they're going to be dropping off. The mediums do usually stay decently in good shape for a good while, but compared to the hards especially, they do hold up. But I'd say probably the pace is going to be getting at least similar between the two guys so at the front. So yeah, not really sure. As actually, Eric, what's happened here?
Oh, hang on a second. There's been an incident at the back with Sean running into the back of his Williams team. The AlphaTauri trying to go up the inside as well, but Sean has just blown up his entire wing. And Rutty boy.
Yeah, it looks like maybe the two Williams came together there. Of course, they're not necessarily teammates. Sean, no, it's Rutty boy who's a reserve. But yeah, it seems like the two came together somehow, and it allowed Eric to go through. Interestingly, Eric came out in, I think it was 13th, Adam in 15th, and he was going for an undercut.
As well. Adam has run into the back or something of Paco, or Paco's run into the back of him on this VSC and got himself a 5-second penalty. But Chris Rutt, he was ghosted when I went back and just saw Sean's wing blow up into the sky in a quite big piece of carbon fibre confetti, which was really something to see.
I'm actually down the inside. Speaking of the two, round goes Adam Corrigan. He tried to move on the inside of Paco Suarez, but he's round now, so it looks like maybe he didn't calculate the move as well as maybe he thought it was going to go, as the AlphaTauri and Williams there both going wide. That's Tom Jewell and that's Chris Rudd, sorry, in the other Williams. So both of them going quite wide, trying to enter the pit lane. Paco Suarez is going to be able to kind of be released in a bit of clean air.
I'm sorry, up in the front, Louis Quinlan almost getting turned into the wall by Martin de Jong as he tried to send a move from way back. Sonny went side by side, tried to go around the outside. I don't think Martin de Jong expected it, as Reese Marsh gets overtaken by 3 drivers and another as Jared goes up his inside, trying to get the move done. Reese Marsh is not having a good restart as he gets another penalty after he cut a couple of corners, getting overtaken by first Martin, Shane, Louis, and now Jared again in the Williams. I don't think Reese
Renault, not Williams, Jared's in Renault.
Whatever, same car, same... Shut up, leave me alone. But yeah, Reese just getting overtaken by I think like 4 cars there in just a very small section. He hasn't got damaged, but his tyres must be shot to bits or something. They're 9 laps old still, so they shouldn't be that bad, but he's understeering so bad, he's oversteering, he's understeering, and he's just getting bullied off this restart, so I have no idea what's gone wrong with him, but it isn't good.
Yeah, now it looks like Reese is kind of losing a little bit of time as well to this train of 4 for what is P6 right now, and then they've got a little bit of a gap to actually Shane's teammate of Storm, who's not too far up the grid. So maybe Shane kind of doing his teammate a little bit of a favor here to allow him to gap the people behind him a bit more. He doesn't really need to gap him much more, because without a mistake they shouldn't catch him because they're both going to the end. That is Martin de Jong. He's going to the end. Well, sorry, no, he's not going to the end, I should say. On those mediums, he'll have to pit again on the softs very late on. But the 3-lap difference in tyres, he should be quicker than Shane. He should have a decent advantage at least, especially with 13-lap old mediums. They should be going off around now, as Dom is not in the lead. I can say that much. He's lagged out, I think.
He's lagged out and the game's broken in its magical, mysterious ways. I hate this game with a passion sometimes. It's awful. It's horrible. But, yeah, I kind of got sidetracked by what you were saying by that. But we've got a little train kind of in the middle of the pack right now, which seems like it's going to be a fight for the points as Reese March is still keeping a little bit of contact, but it's kind of a fight for 6 down to mid-points. Seems to be the only place where anything's really going on other than the front went. Oh, Martin de Jong goes into the wall. It's going to be a big crash. He loses his wing. Almost. He's quite lucky to not lose his wheels there as he goes off. I think that was, where was that? Turn 2.
That was at the exit of turn 2. You're kind of in the middle of the straight, safety more so. It's full safety car,
safety car.
And he's lost all of his wing. Massive lockup for Martin there, and yeah, it's not a good situation. Luckily for him, he does have a safety car in his favour, so he'll be able to pit and not lose too much. But yeah, I mean, actually, given he had to pit at the end anyway, it's actually going to help him quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know why I thought that was turn 5. My brain just malfunctioned when I saw him spin. That I got all excited. Yeah,
when I heard it, I switched. I was kind of getting ready to switch in case something happened. I was watching the fight for the lead, but I did switch to at least see him spin round. I don't know how it happened. If you know, but
I was on board with him. That's why I screamed so loud. But he was coming on the exit turn 2. He lost the rear a little bit. So he lost the rear a little bit, and he lost it some more. Tapped the wall on the other side. Lost the rear some more. And then lost it completely.
Now here's actually something very interesting. Adrian is staying out. If you look at where Antonio is, he's softs to the end in 4th.
Okay. So Tim, Rex March and Adrian all deciding to stay out.
It's actually no, yeah, no. The softs with safety car, they'll easily make it to the end. So Adrian decided not to pit, but now you look, only 3 places behind him is someone on softs. Softs versus hards. There's no question who's winning that game. So
I mean, Reese, as we've seen, has been having some traction issues. There's a few lap cars ahead of him, it seems. Sure, and whoever else in front of him
you're very like
Antonio behind him just lost.
You're like a robot right now.
Am I just going around in circles? Wait, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, lag.
Yeah, your voice, robot voice.
I don't know, you talk then.
No, it seemed to fix. It was just like a
Brilliant.
blip, I guess. So yeah, go on now.
I am human. I do human things like a human. Believe me.
Gonna have to take a not a robot test. Make sure.
Please don't. Anything but
Anyway.
that. Please, I promise you I'm human, Kevin. But yeah, Antonio behind Reese, he's probably just gonna give him. Like, he's just gonna go past him. Let's be honest. He's on softs against Reese. Is struggling hard. He's not having a good time on the hards. He's oversteering, understeering. Everything under the sun is going wrong with this car. And then you got Tim and Adrian. I was going to say Antonio, but that's not right. Adrian ahead of him, also on
hear my
hards.
mic, by the way. If you hear that, I hope you don't. But
oh no, we don't. We don't
no?
hear it.
Okay, that's good.
Don't even bother to mention it. You're fine. But yeah, getting past Tim and will be harder, but I think it will still be easy as long as he gets done within the first 3-4 laps. Then he can put some lap.
Okay, yeah, there you go again. Your Wi-Fi is not having the best of times right now.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Your Wi-Fi said it better than you could. Yeah, I guess I'll pick up. Hopefully Jack's Wi-Fi can fix itself before the end of the safety car at least. Of course, it's Adrian who is leading the train, Tim right behind him, same with Reese March. They're all equally, like their hards are equally as worn as each other's. And then of course you have Antonio on the softs, Eric, Ross and Storm all on the mediums, and then Jared also opting for the softs. So it seems to be mixed on going for the softs or not, but I think the softs should be able to make it. I mean, quality softs can make it to the end of lap 11. If it's fresh under safety car, it should be fine to go softs, but maybe people were not sure about it and going mediums to be safer. Of course, it'll allow Jared to maybe make a few extra moves in the opening stages if he can really make use of those softs. But it looks like now the safety car is in. It didn't actually tell us, but it is in this lap.
I've lagged out the session. Keep talking. Do your thing.
Okay. Well, anyway, Adrian is going to be going very soon. Is that someone in the pits? Ross. Sorry, Reese, I should say. Yeah, Reese in the pits at the very end of the safety car. Very interesting choice, but Adrian is going to lead the field away going into turn 1 ahead of Timber Stalins. There's oh no, wait, Reese didn't go into the pits. Okay, that's weird. It must have been someone at the back, but yeah. Reese in third. He's going to be under pressure from Antonio going into turn 3. Antonio might dive it. He's going to stick behind for now as Paco retires in the pit lane. Okay. Antonio still on the back of Reese March. He's going to be making a move maybe into what is turn 6, I think it is. Or no, I should say 5. It is 5. And then, yeah. So going through now what is turn 7 and turn 8. It's a very crucial corner. Of course, softs versus hards. He's going to have much better of an exit. Please, I would hope that we're not going to be seeing a move into turn 11 as we don't. But maybe behind we're going to be seeing some moves. The racing point of Adrian Storm is a little bit close to actually no, well, Jared's a little closer to the back of him as he makes a pretty easy move. I think that was the Ferrari of Eric making a move up the front. Is actually the Mercedes a massive, well, a crash now. What turned into a crash? Rui Quinn was trying to push Storm, squeeze Storm out on the exit, but he couldn't do it successfully, and actually has spun himself around there. So yeah, it didn't work out well for him as Storm is able to continue with not too many issues. I think those McLaren in the background having not the best time, but we'll go back to the fight up here. Jared Fosbury is trying to make a few more moves. Of course, he's on the softs. He's not got too much ERS to use. He's got about half left right now. He's trying to, well, if he does make the move around here, it would be quite incredible. So he's going to keep the inside. Luckily for him, Ross is going to leave just about enough space going into turn 5, and he's gonna squeeze him out. Actually, that's turns. I have no idea what turns. Never mind. But yeah, it's not making sense to me. But Jared Fosbury is gonna go ahead of Ross Williams, and actually Ross losing out a little bit there after getting overtaken, it seems, as Jared Fosbury and Shane, Adam and Shane make the move. As Eric,
no!
Oh no!
Hang on a second, Antonio's round in a dramatic spin. I just went off on board with him. I went to Adam, but I just got on board and he's spinning round and round in circles. So the person who we thought could win this race, could do well, after fighting with Eric, kind of switching positions a couple of times, I think they were quite close to each other. He goes spinning round in dramatic fashion, and that is his chances for a race win almost completely null and void, except Jared is out going side by side with Reese March, who's been struggling. Jared hasn't got his DRS open according to my screen, but he actually lets Reese through and doesn't bother to try and go for an overtake despite being on softs. But okay, he's going to try again into this next turn, into turn 3 I imagine, as Shane gets past Ross Williams.
It doesn't seem he has enough overtakes to make a move, as you said, Ross is trying to go around the outside of Shane after previously getting overtaken. He was going side by side with Jared. It seems like he came off quite a bit worse, losing 2 positions after he was overtaken. For some reason, I didn't quite catch it as Antonio, while he retires in the pits, he feels he can't get anything else out of this race, so unfortunate.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of overtimes in the pits today, which is quite sad.
Yeah, we have more of them in the pits than not.
Alfie,
I think, was the only one who didn't do it. But yeah, Reese is getting overtaken again, but he actually is going to defend it. Just about Jared had to back out once again. No making a move into turn 11 anyway, as Jared is going to look for the move around the outside again, and this time I think surely, yeah, he does make the move up into P4 on those softs, and now he can try and chase after Eric, who's actually very closely following Tim Stalins there, going through the final corner. I know he's round, but I'm gonna stick on board with Eric here because he may be making a move for P2. He's going to be closing, he's going to look to the inside, he's going to send it up the inside, and he's going to make the move quite easily actually in the end. But can Tim do anything about it? He's not going to have any DRS to answer, and Eric is going to be up into P2.
Ross gets past Reese as well, but I didn't see the Eric thing as I see what's going on behind, as Martin de Jong, I thought, was just about to swing into the wall again as he did earlier. But there goes Ewan up the inside of the Haas of Martin, except Martin still was going to hold up the inside for turn 4, still going side by side McLaren and the Haas. They can't go side by side turn 5, but there you go, Martin gets himself back into the points with Storm just ahead of him, so we can still make more overtakes as this race goes on. But yeah, Adam going round, he was off some good points, but he didn't add them, really, is all we have to say about that. But Eric, only 1 second behind Adrian in the front. He hasn't got a penalty, so if he just stays where he is now, Eric has won the race, as he's the only one on track right now without a penalty.
Yeah, Jared Fosbury isn't too far behind. Of course, there's always opportunity to be getting pens. I guess there's no point in not checking as, oh, Tim, 13 seconds pens. That's actually very unfortunate, yeah. As well, regardless though, Jared Fosbury right up the back of Tim Stalins. This is for the podium positions. He's going to look to the outside. Of course, Eric did it around going down the inside, but Jared is going to get squeezed, but he's going to still stick it in. He's going to try to make this move around the outside, but it seems maybe he can't, as he gets actually almost, well, no, he can't. He gets squeezed off at the exit of turn 4, and he can't make the move. Tim Stalins keeps the P3. Of course, 13 seconds depends. But yeah, he's not giving up. He's still fighting.
Yeah, those two only really slowed themselves down there. I was expecting Tim to just go okay and let Jared through, but that wasn't the case at all, as they were squeezing, pushing, wheel rubbing, the lot, everything that you could think of happened during that fight other than death. But Ross Williams now is just a little bit behind, and if he overtakes Jared, they're on the same amount of penalties, which looks like he's going to get a better run than him.
Yeah. A really good exit from Ross Williams. He's going to be looking to the outside. Of course, Jared Fosbury also has DRS. He's going to squeeze him out going through the corner. He says, this is my corner, and he's going to keep P4 for now. Both of them, I think, with just 3 seconds of penalties. So it is for position at the moment. And actually thinking about it, Tim, he may have got a 10-second penalty that he maybe didn't deserve. So maybe he's, it looked like Jared and Tim were saying hello to each other. I'm not sure they did. A little turn to the right. I'm not sure if you noticed that too, Jack. But
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, maybe Jared's trying to say, let me go. Maybe Tim's saying, no, you're going to have to pass me on track. But, yeah, if I should say, if Tim has a 10-second penalty that he doesn't deserve, maybe this is actually for track position. Maybe he does actually deserve the podium. You never know. But what we do know is he is fighting for this position, and he's doing everything he can to stay ahead. As speaking of staying ahead, Jared Fosbury isn't staying ahead of Ross, as Ross is going to go down the inside of Jared Fosbury. Jared Fosbury is going to try and hold it down the inside of turn 9, but he's not going to be able to do it, and he's going to have to sit behind. So Ross up into P4, both of them on an equal lap old tyres, but of course those softs are going to go off quicker than the mediums, and really it's going to be around now that those softs are going to be going off, as now Tom Jewell also looking for a move on Jared Fosbury. This is going to be for P5, so the two Alpha Tauris actually not doing too badly. If you look at it like that, maybe I think they'll be ahead in the constructors, because that's 15 and not 10, but 15 and 8. Actually, well, maybe not. If Tom can take 5th, then it might be on for them. But one thing that is happening, actually, Ross now, he was getting past Jared Fosbury not too long ago. He's going to be down the inside of Timber Stadiums now. He's showing Jared how to do it down the inside, and he's up into P3. He can try and chase after the top 2, but there's not many laps left. They'll probably have to come together, but I don't really think Eric's going to be looking for a move, because he can just keep it calm and not get any more warnings if he does have any at all, and that would secure him the win.
Yeah, I think I did say consistency with Matt. Eric's the only one on the track without penalty right now. So yellow flag sector 1, as it looks like it might be Williams round again. Oh, good lord, Chris Rutt flicking around at Mach 13. That was really something when I went on board with him. But yeah, the Williams are having an awful day. It looks like real life with both Williams at the back.
Oh, wait, I did actually notice this. Jared Fosbury is on the inside of Timber Stadiums now. Ross Williams made a move on him not too long ago earlier on. Lap Timber Stadiums is still actually trying to maybe look at a move into turn 13. It's not really a place you want to make a move. And now Tom Jewell goes down the inside of his AlphaTauri teammates, so they switch positions. I doubt Tim would have made it too hard for his teammate, or maybe he didn't necessarily plan to fight it too much. So Tim losing 2 positions in quick succession there. Tom Jewell, of course, trying to push on to try and beat Jared Fosbury. So looking at it in a team kind of perspective, I'll check again the penalties just for a little update. 3 seconds for 3rd, 4th and 5th, so it is all for position that they're fighting for. But it doesn't look like Jared Fosbury is going to be able to catch up as Roti Boy. Oh! Another safety car right at the end.
Oh.
Of course, it looked like Eric was fine for the win. He may still be fine for the win, but it's contested now. Because if people fight with him behind, maybe Adrian can pull a 3-second gap. They'd have to fight quite a bit, mind you, but anything can really happen now with a safety car, a late safety car. I'm actually going to check just to see if he does have any warnings at all. He has 2 warnings, so if he does make a mistake, he will get a penalty. So you just never know what could happen.
I mean, this safety car I wasn't expecting at all. I thought we were quite set in stone with what was going to happen at the end of this race, but this has really changed something. There's Chris right at the back. His Williams crashes in turn 12 and ends his race, and also ends what was probably going to be a mundane finish. Now we've got like a 2-lap shootout to see what happens at the end of this race, see who will take the lead. Eric still has the advantage. If he stays where he is, he just gets away from Russ a little bit, just a little slight gap. Even though he's on the older tyres, he'll be okay. And as long as Adrian doesn't do something unworldly and flies off 5 seconds in the distance, I think it's still Eric in the driving seat of this race. But again, we just don't know. If Eric gets another warning, things could go differently if he gets overtaken. But we just have to wait and see and wait for the safety car, which won't be around for a very long time, as it's
Yeah, I would
right
assume
at the
it's
end of
going
the
to
race.
be in this lap most likely, as the game doesn't really let it go on longer than it has to when it's right at the end like this. So most of the grid being behind the safety car, I think the game's going to say that's enough. So yeah, of course you're not able to finish on the safety car, which is good for league racing. I mean, it's in real life you can finish on the safety car, but the game doesn't have it. I'm not too annoyed about that. One of the few things about the game that's not realistic, that's like,
Okay.
it's acceptable.
I mean, I would enjoy it in career mode. I wouldn't mind it in career mode. The safety car is in this lap, but I think the 2 Alfa Romeos could catch up by the end of it, if they're lucky. But I think if I was doing a career mode where I like things to feel real, then I would enjoy that. But in league racing, it would be horrible.
It spices
It'd be
up
awful.
endings just like we have now. Of course, Eric actually getting up alongside Adrian there for a second as the entire grid very, very slow. Adrian slowing it right down. Of course, he is the guy who's gonna... Oh, is he actually gone? No, he's not. Okay, well, I thought he went for a second there. He probably would have caught up with the safety car and been restricted again, so probably wouldn't have been the best idea, but...
But I was about to say that Adam could get points still, but he decided to overtake his teammate under the yellows, which was big brain maneuver. But anyway, they're racing again with Adrian flying off already. Kevin, you take over your lead car.
Eric wasn't able to get the best restart. Actually, he's almost a second out. There isn't going to be any more DRS for this race. The two Alpha Tauris sticking quite close together. It doesn't look like Tim's going to be able to make a move on his teammate. Of course, that's very old hards versus a lot fresher mediums, you can say. And Storm behind, probably Tim is going to be going backwards if anything, so he's going to have to defend a lot. Really, it's doing his teammate favours if he can hold people up behind. We'll see Jared Fosbury, of course, he's on the softs. His softs kind of should be going off quite significantly, 11 laps on them. So I would assume Tom Jewell's going to be able to make a move soon.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, speaking of a move, actually, Jared Fosbury had a very bad exit going out of turn 8. It doesn't look like it's cost him too much, but it is going to allow Tom Jewell to at least close up a little bit going through the exit of turn 12. He's, of course, not going to have DRS. No DRS is going to be an activation as we approach the final lap. Eric is 7/10 in behind Adrian. So maybe if he can make a move under slipstream, we'll see as he exits the final corner. It's mediums versus hards. Both would be very much going off at this point. We'll see if Eric also gets a late penalty. You never know what could happen. He's going to have to keep it very clean on this final lap. But the top three go through pretty much as they have been for quite a while, to be fair. And two Alpha Tauris, they put pretty much everyone's staying put. I don't really see any moves. Last time I said that there was a crash, but this time it seems there is actually nothing too crazy happening as the whole grid stays pretty much as is. And yeah, it kind of looks like it's going to be a bit of a disappointing end. With the safety car, of course, everyone got brought so close together. Eric is closing in on Adrian. He may be able to make a move going into the final stages of this race, the final sector of this race even. But it doesn't look like he's close enough. He's going to be coming out of the exit of turn 12. Adrian doesn't look like he actually had the best exit. It looked like he was maybe trying to correct, or actually no, he's breaking the toe as he moves to the left as well, which he's fully entitled to do. So Adrian is going to be coming through the final few corners. Eric is right behind him. Of course, in this position, Eric is not... he is going to take the win. I should have said Adrian isn't. But Adrian is going to come through the final corner. You can see the checkered flag now. He's going to cross the line in first, but it's going to be Eric Salama, I should say. Eric... Eric Pettinen takes the win in the first round at Australia, just ahead of Adrian Villarreal. Of course, he won on penalties. And he's the one who takes full points in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I said at the beginning of the race that Eric is quick and he'll win at some point, and consistency will reward you well. And Eric, who I can confirm is not a woman, stands on the top step of the podium. So, I mean, I guess what I said at the start was right, but fair play to him for just being good throughout this whole race and just not going outside the boundaries, staying calm. 2 warnings, that's fine. He didn't get a penalty, and look where it got him, on the top step of the podium and doing very well for himself.
Indeed, it'll be interesting to see how things play out for Tim. He got 4 penalties in the end, so yeah, I'm not sure. I'll probably do that calculation maybe later, but yeah, it is Eric Pettinen. I almost said Salama again, but Eric takes the win, of course. He had no penalties. He jumped Adrian, and yeah, Adrian in second. Ross Williams takes the final podium position. Jared Fosbury takes a good P4. Tom Jewell in 5th. Reese March in 6th. Storm in 7th. That's Yuan in 8th, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Martin de Jong in 9th. Timber Stalins in 10th. Shane in 11th. Adam Cargan in 12th. Louis Quinlan 13th. Dom, I don't think he was actually in the lobby, but he's finished 14th. And then if we see, yep, Sean 15th, a lap down. And then Chris Rudd, Antonio, Paco, Charlie, and Alfie, all DNFs in this race.
I think everybody who retired in this race was in the pits, other than I think Chris Rudd and somebody else, which I can't remember. But Kevin, who would you give your driver of the day?
I think you asked that a little too late, because I'm not sure. I need to kind of see the grid and where people started, but I think if Antonio was able to finish, I would have given it to him, but he obviously wasn't able to. So I'm really not sure. If Jared was started outside of the top 10, then maybe him. I
mean,
of course, Eric is also a shout, because at one point he was running 11th, and then he came back through, of course, kind of helped by safety cars, but also he got no pens. That's what got him the win, so consistency there. I'd say there's a few options, so I'm not really sure.
For me, I'd say it was Adrian or Eric for me. I mean, going up positions is nice, but you can get that anyway by just people retiring or luck or whatever, but I think Eric, for his just consistency and pace, but just being there, right place, right time, no penalties, very good race from the man from Finland. And then Adrian as well, from just having the pace all race.
Could
and
you
quality.
add the top 3, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Just
sorry.
Because we're kind of just sitting here. I don't want the stream to go on too long, but do want to get the interviews done.
Oh, you have to add them to a group now, don't you?
Yeah, you go into this party and add them.
My PlayStation bad. That's tragic. Okay.
Actually, well, I guess I'll help out, because like. Oh, and that's also why he stayed out at the end on hards instead of pitting. He actually wanted to pit, but he would have lost 10 seconds. So that's why he didn't.
See. Tim knows what's up. As people start joining the party for interviews, yay, Lolly's favourite part of the race. Whether I'm driving or commentating. Have you invited everyone, Kevin?
I should have. At least.
Good boy. Should we start the interviews then?
Just give me a moment. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't wrong. I was just making sure the top three weren't wrong. So yeah, if we have Eric, then we should be able to get started then. So Eric, do I have you?
Yep.
Okay, nice. Then yeah, of course you ended up taking the top spot. At times in the race, maybe it didn't look like you were going to. You started, I think, in third or fourth. I'm not completely sure, but I know you had a pretty good start initially, and then early on you opted to stay out. That ended up working out for you because of safety cars later on kind of working in your favour, but in the end no penalties got you the race win.
Yeah, that was maybe the hardest race I've done. My legs are completely they are like how they say, when you squeeze them they are, you know. But yeah, congrats for Pickle for P2 and RDV in P3. It was a crazy race, and I never expected to win that race, but I guess miracles happen. But I have to say, very good drive from Pickle anyways, 24 laps with hearts, he had very good pace, and yeah, very good race.
Yeah, of course. I don't really have too much to ask really. It just kind of went your way with safety cars in the end of how it worked out. But I guess it must feel good to take top spot anyway. In the first round, must give you confidence going into the next rounds as well.
Yeah, it gives good confidence. Unfortunately, I'll miss the next week because of work schedules, but I'll be back for the 21st day. But I had good fights here today, and unfortunate incident with CPI Blaz. We went side by side in turn 11. It looked like we were gonna make it stick, but unfortunately it didn't happen. I'm very gutted for him. He had a good race, but that's what happens sometimes. But
yeah, we weren't actually.
It's great.
Yeah,
you didn't see that?
Well, no, we saw him spin. We didn't actually know that it was because he was going side by side, though. We thought he just spun on his own.
So basically, we went side by side, and then he slipped my rear tire, and then he unfortunately spun, and his race was ruined. But it would have been fun to fight against him for P1, but still, Sassy Pickle was man in the mission today. Like, he did unbelievable strategies. Even though I won, I still think Sassy Pickle is 12 the day today for making 24 laps with hard tires. So Sassy Pickle is the real winner of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and of
that's
course,
what I'm just saying.
Just to lead on to next race, well, actually, it's for you. It's not going to be Russia, so I'm actually going to have to see what.
Yeah, it's
going to
be 2 weeks from now.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I'll get it in a second. See, round 3 is actually Britain. So, how do you think you could do around there when you're back?
Well, I think it's possible to win or to get the podium. I don't think win is possible. I think with wheel, I don't think in normal circumstances I can even get top 5. Today was just some kind of stroke day, and yeah, hopefully I'll finish in the top 3, but I doubt it. I need a lot more practice with the wheel. Today was just super lucky day, like very lucky day. That's what I'm gonna say.
So yeah, well, I guess to finish, congratulations on your first place and good luck for next week. Or, well, the week after.
2 weeks, yeah, we'll practice, definitely, thank you.
Yeah, then that would lead us on to Adrian then, who took second. Do we have you? Just to make sure,
yes, yeah. Hello guys.
So, obviously you led actually most of the race in the end, but penalties kind of stopped you in your tracks. Safety cars certainly didn't help out either, but at the end of the day, you ran a really good race. So do you want to kind of talk us through any battles you had maybe here and there? Of course, most of it was kind of happening behind you, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a very good race. Obviously, the qualifying was fine. I messed up my last lap, but it was enough for the pole position. And then obviously I got the penalty. I was pretty surprised Eric didn't get any penalties because Australia is kind of tricky that way. But I mean, congratulations to him. He did the perfect strategy given the 2 safety cars. He was very fast and getting no penalties, so he obviously deserves the win. And yeah, I just decided to pit after the first safety car because I thought the tires would last, and they ended up lasting, although I had 70% tire wear at the end there, so it was pretty close. So I don't regret the strategy. And yeah, I didn't have too many battles really, just messed up with a penalty, but yeah, congrats to Eric and to the P3.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you there, in the last safety car when you saw it was Antonio or CPI Blaze pitting, did you think maybe that you had made the wrong decision, given you saw like he came out in fourth from pitting second, so he didn't really lose much, and without the crash maybe he could have been battling you for the win, you never know, but did you think maybe that you made a mistake there for a second, or were you confident in that?
You're asking about the second safety car?
It would have been the last one, I think.
The second last one.
Okay, maybe second last one. Well, I mean, it was when Blaze was still in the race anyway. He had pit and came out first.
Right?
Kevin.
Yeah, the Red Bull, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was never gonna pit because I didn't think anyone else was gonna pit, and then if you pit here and someone stays out, it's so hard to overtake that I just said I'm just gonna stay out. I don't know.
Okay, well, yeah, obviously in the end it got you a P2, just short of a win. But next week is Russia, so obviously you've shown good pace around here. Do you think you could show similar next week?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm just scared of the penalties. I don't know. I'm just gonna try to not get any penalties, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, obviously congratulations on the P2 and good luck for next week.
Alright, thank you.
And finally, Ross Williams.
Hello.
There you are. Obviously a P3 today. Looks like you actually had quite the battle for a P3. It was certainly a hard-fought P3 with Jared Fosbury and a few others actually who were really contesting for the position. So, an eventful race, I think.
Oh yeah, quite a surprise I was still P3 to be honest. But yeah, I got front wing damage on the first lap, and it's minor front wing damage, but still had to change it. So I lost 5 seconds in the pit and managed to get back through. I managed to get Storm. It was quite a late move, and I apologise if it was over the top. And then had quite the battle with Neon as well. So yeah, just managed to get in front of those guys and take third at the end.
Yeah, of course. Didn't really seem from your end too many mistakes necessarily. Just kind of the safety cars benefited some people and didn't benefit others. But in the circumstances, I think he did quite well. Next week at Russia, do you think he could get another podium, maybe go for a win, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Australia's quite an outlier in terms of pace. I didn't expect to be at the front, so just have to see. I tend to go well around there, so have to see, I guess.
No, then congratulations on the P3 and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
And then that would, of course, end the stream. So I hope you all enjoyed. This is going to be the end for Australia. Next week, of course, on Wednesday is when we commence for I should say Russia round 2. And yeah, so be sure to join us for that. And of course, next week in F2 seems very close of a grid, so we should be able to see plenty more fights. And of course, we have to have a different race winner next week since Eric unfortunately can't make it. So I'm sure we'll see many more later on in the season. So yeah, that has been round 2. I hope you enjoyed, and join us for next week. Goodbye.